All right. Carpet bankruptcy. Topics we're going to discuss today. What do you do? What contractual recourse do you have? Should you hold up future payments? Should you notify your client? Will the carpet subcontractors third tier suppliers come after you for payment? And can they? Assuming the subcontractors sell their receivables to a collection agency, will that firm also come after you? And what adjustments to the system can you recommend to prevent this situation from happening in the future? Starting with what do you do? The first thing that I would do is reach out to the subcontractor directly asking for their financial statements and for them just to prove to you there are no cash flow problems and bankruptcy is not on the horizon if they're claiming that this isn't a thing, they don't know what you're talking about. I personally would be straightforward with them, bring up how I've spoken to several people about their concerns, and as well as hearing about the CEO leaving, it all sounds like a discussion needs to be had and something's going on. Um, I'd reach out in a written form like email so I can save proof and documentation of all my communication with the company from here forward for legal backing mostly. Um, Lastly, since I have this information on multiple accounts, I will move forward cautiously from now on, knowing the things that I know this could be a risky business relationship for me moving forward. Next, we got what contractual recourse do you have? I'd start off by withholding payments. If people are not receiving their payments or there's liens or even proof of insolvency involved, these are all valid reasons to withhold payment. Second, I established a bond, so if the company defaults in any way, I'll be able to submit a claim against the payment method. And lastly, if necessary, I can direct payment to suppliers to ensure that they are being paid, and I myself am not acquiring any liens throughout the rest of this process. So I just simply go over the subcontractor's head and pay where I need to distribute money. Should you hold up future payments? Yes, the answer is simply yes. The law generally allows for withholding of payments when liens exist. So choosing not to withhold and choosing to pay can lead to even more problems, including possibly causing to have me to pay double if I were to pay and then they come back and they want payments placed otherwhere. It's better just to withhold payments. You're covered by the law, so why would you pay? Um, But again, my solution will be to pay suppliers directly as if they if they happen to come out of it, the subcontract happen to come out of this and everything seems fine, we resolve our issues, we can resume routine payments and the way we were doing things before. But for now, I'm going to directly go to the suppliers and conduct business so it's safe for me. Should you notify your client? This is a pretty important one. I would notify the client immediately. I know it could be a difficult conversation and could be even hostile, you could even say. I mean, it could be sensitive, but I would absolutely notify the client first. Homeowners or owners of property in general will be alert when it comes to liens because the lien will be attached to their property. So I would notify them face to face or over the phone to allow for more of a personal communication so you can relay the information that's going on. But I would also send an email so you have documented proof of everything that's going on. So you have you reaching out and like, telling them what's going on. So that way you can avoid any accusation of concealment or any other problems that may come my way. Lastly, it's important to be truthful and maintain trust and integrity with your clients. I think at the end of the day, once the conversation's over, they're going to appreciate it and they'll appreciate it even more, especially if they have different things that they want to do, different avenues they want to take to protect themselves and their money. So, definitely important to notify your client immediately as soon as this starts happening. Will the third tier suppliers come after you for payment? Yes, they'll most likely start moving up the chain, asking questions, and looking for their money. But fortunately, it does not mean that I am liable or at fault in any way. The unfortunate side is, although they are a third tier supplier, they can still file a lien on the property for not receiving any payment. Um, this causes me and the owner to get involved and have to resolve the issue down the line. But like I said, it happens, but you're not at fault. I'm not at fault. I'm not personally liable, so, but it will need to be resolved. Assuming the subcontractor sells the receivables to a collection agency, will that firm also come after you? Sorry about that. They might try, but it would be unsuccessful. As long as I have valid reasons within the law to withhold funds, then I'm covered and won't have to pay the agency anything. The subcontractor could try to receive payment, but they're only going to be signed off on what is actually owed. So they can only go so far with that. And lastly, just because a collection agency is involved doesn't mean they get to override your original contracts you have with the owners, and they don't get to override any legal backing you already have. They might get involved, but you stand your ground and you have your valid reasons, and you'll be all right. So. Next, what adjustments to the system can you recommend to prevent the situation from happening in the future? So this is an important one too. This is the last one we're going to discuss. There's a couple things that I would definitely implement so this doesn't happen again in the future. Um, the first thing I would do is implement some sort of vetting or pre-qualification process. When I go to considering hiring a subcontractor, I want to know their financial history, any backstops or plans for worst case scenarios. For example, this one, if this were to happen to them, like where are we going to stand? How are we going to work this out? If they've ever gone bankrupt before, I'd like to know that. I'd like to know how, why, when, who was the leadership in that. Um, I'd also want to know a few references and preferably from other GCs that are in similar sizes to me so I can get a true understanding of what it's like to work with them. Um, and then second important one I would like to do is to implement some sort of um, method to catch this situation in the early stages. Some way of alerting me of the early warning signals, whether that's my office staff or me. I want to know when big shifts occur in the subcontractors that I work with, businesses. For example, CEOs leaving or changing leadership or any liens involving them, because those are all big, important things that I would need to know that might change the way I move or start planning for worst case scenario or moving in a different direction in the future. And that is all I have. Thank you for listening.